Welcome back, everybody. This is Big Dude, and as you know, Hytale has been canceled. What? Yeah, this is old news at this point. But as you know, not many days after it got canceled, we got a message from Tyron. If you don't know Tyron, he is the creator of Vintage Story. Phenomenal game, by the way. And he also used to be a dev who worked on Hytale. And in this post, he basically sent out a message telling the Hytale devs, first of all, that he is just so sorry about everything that went down, and that they can apply at Vintage Story to create either a new game or a game mode that carries out the same vision as Hytale. This was big news alone, but to be honest, I was not sure if it was more of like just a kind gesture and maybe just a possible idea, or if this was the real deal, until now. Tyron just made a new update confirming his plans to do this, and the details get me excited. All right, let's jump into this. It starts off with this. Let's do a little follow-up on the previous devlog post on Hytale, now that the dust has settled. In short, we will attempt to create a new game mode as part of Vintage Story. There's your confirmation. They are going to be going through with this. It wasn't just talk, it wasn't just possibilities or throwing out ideas. They're doing this. So let's keep reading. Team budget and risks. We are now looking through the job applications and contacting promising candidates. So much potential. It feels like picking your favorite candy from a candy store. Thank you everyone for applying. We've carefully thought about our options, budget and potential risks. We'll be starting small, 3 to 4 people, and expand once the project shows merit and gathers interest. That's a big point. We'll come back to that later. A small team might be slower, but is also much more manageable, more effective, and can pivot quicker. Slow growth allows us to fund this truly for the long term. And thankfully, we can reuse a lot of the Vintage Story ecosystem. All right, so here's where it gets exciting. The goal. The new mode would be departing significantly in aesthetics, setting, and game mechanics compared to Vintage Story. More focused towards fantasy and adventure RPG compared to the gritty realism-based nature of the current experience. I have to pause there. That is it. That is literally my one complaint with Vintage Story, is it's just not the right theme for me. The game is great, the devs are incredible, and they're so passionate, and it's just such a healthy studio. They're very positive and passionate about their project, but the one thing is, like, I just am not really into the hardcore survival horror, but this is exactly what I wanted, is an adventure or fantasy RPG kind of aesthetic, and that is why I was so interested in Hytale and why Everwind looks good to me. But this is it, guys. And the fact that they said they're going to be changing the aesthetics, I mean, this means you're not getting the same textures. Like, it's going to look like a whole new game built inside of Vintage Story. Now, if we continue, he does say, personally, I would love to see some elves and dwarves in there. This just further along confirms this is a fantasy game. This is awesome. For the time being, it would ship alongside Vintage Story at no additional cost. That is great news. But in the purely hypothetical scenario where it really takes off, we could spin it off into a fully separate game. We'll be very open about it. Release early, and the sub-team will be given significant agency over development direction and communication style with players. There will also be some areas where the goals of both teams will intersect and both projects will benefit, such as combat, improved enemy AI, or better NPCs in general. For existing players, rest assured the aesthetic and game mechanics of Vintage Story will remain true to its original vision. Wow, that was a lot. Let's unpack that. First of all, this game mode would be included with Vintage Story in the beginning, right? They do talk about if the game takes off and grows like a lot of attention and is just getting really big, they may split it off into a fully separate game. And the good news is, like I said earlier, this is just a 3 to 4 people project. The whole development team of Vintage Story is still intact. And they did say to rest assured as a Vintage Story fan, you're still going to get your aesthetic and the original vision will stay intact. But what's really nice is, as they said, if they do make a groundbreaking improvement in something like combat or AI or NPCs, those will also translate over to Vintage Story and be a benefit to both games, which is a really good thing. And now for his closing words. It's a bold move for us. We haven't tried this before. Nonetheless, I'm confident that we can build something truly engaging for all players. In the off chance that the community is not interested in what we're building, we'll keep the option open to pivot, making Vintage Story better instead. Either way, we'll try our best to deliver something worth your time. We'll share more as soon as we have something to share. Cheers, Tyron. So after reading those details, this really confirms to me that this is what I'm wanting. And honestly, I could not name a single better thing to happen if we do get the news that Simon is unable to get Hytale back. This genuinely, I could not think of a better solution. Obviously, Hytale is Hytale, and nothing will really ever compare to it. It's just Hytale. The game was incredible, and it's the game that we bought into for the last 7 years. But I think what's really important to understand with this right here is that it's made by the same people with the same passion, the same heart that they had creating Hytale, and they're pouring that into this. Obviously, in my last video, I talked about Everwind and how that game does look really good, and I said that this Vintage Story thing may end up looking more like Catalina Crunch versus Cinnamon Toast Crunch, which is like an off-brand situation. But I think that worry has been settled for me. I no longer think that this will feel like just an off-brand version of Hytale, rather a new funnel for the Hytale's team, the heart and passion that they put into Hytale to funnel out and create something new. The Hytale team had something truly special, the ability to create worlds that had depth and story, and it felt like a kid sitting down in his kindergarten class and he's hands some crowns and he says, build a superhero or build a cool story or whatever. And he makes this cool looking like elf that shoots laser beams and has a cat tail or some weird thing. And it's like, look what I made. This is so cool. And it's unique, right? It's in his imagination. It's something that he passionately made, even though it's kind of weird, but it works, right? I think that what's really unique about the Hytale devs is that they're able to bring in this rich story into their worlds, and this rich, like, character. It's so hard to describe, but hopefully you get where I'm going with this. I mean, the Quebecs alone, the story where they start out as seedlings and grow up into elder trees and are able to teach the younger seedlings, and then they eventually wither away and their seeds create more, and it's just like this, such a rich story in one character. So this is a message to Tyron and the team as they go into this. I'm not asking for any kind of game mechanics. I'm not asking for any kind of texture or whatever. I'm simply asking that you don't just make Vintage Story and throw in an elf and a dwarf and call it a fantasy game. I'm sure that you guys are going to handle this with care and passion. When you are building this world, don't just throw in fantasy elements. Build a world. Build a lore and a story. Make it rich and something that you can get invested into. And give us something like a Quebec. Don't make it similar to a Quebec, because that would just feel like Catalina Crunch. And we don't want Catalina Crunch, okay? We want something new and something unique and something that is passionate and comes from you. Not just generic fantasy version of Vintage Story. And I think if anybody's going to pull this off, it's going to be this team right here. To give us a world that we can invest into in the same way that we invested into Hytale. So anyway, that is it for today's update. I'm really excited about this. I'm going to be keeping a sharp hawk eye on Tyron's posts and on this adventure mode and just seeing how this unfolds as we await Simon's updates. And yes, when he does make an update, you can expect to see probably a video surrounding whatever his update is on this channel. I'm going to be keeping a close tabs on that. He has been very crickets this weekend. Very crickets. He has not said anything other than not long ago he made a post that the dog in the Hytale trailer is his dog. So there's that. Yeah. But as far as the whole riot thing, I mean, I'm sure, it's the weekend, it's 4th of July, there's a lot of things going on, so things are not really moving right now. I would probably expect some more updates at the start of the weeks from Monday moving on. I'm sure we'll get some kind of update there. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see what he has to say. But honestly, I'm kind of in this place now where it's like, if it's no, it's no. If it's yes, it's yes. I'm tired of waiting. I think a lot of us in the Hytale community feel that way. It's like, dude, we've been waiting for 7 years, and now we're waiting even more and even more intensely, I would say, because now this is what we're waiting for is it dead or is it not? And I just kind of want it to be ripped off like a Band-Aid. I hate this, like, waiting, like, is it going to happen? Is it not? I just want to know. If it's no, honestly, I mean, yeah, it stinks, but I'm just really glad that we have this new adventure mode built in Vintage Story. I honestly am very excited to see this happen, especially because you're taking a group of passionate devs who were really invested into Hytale and you're giving them a second chance, and I am here for that. And I plan on making a video pretty soon that talks about the downfall of Hypixel Studios and the environment there, because if you don't know anything about that, there's some tweets that have come out from Hytale developers, and guys, it's honestly really sad. Like, in the beginning of Hytale, people were so excited working on this game, right? It's like that kid I described that was drawing the weird creature, and just like they were excited to share things and, hey, look at this idea, look at this. And it was so fun. There weren't titles getting thrown around and you have to submit to this and this. They were just friends making a game. And that took a horrible turn to where it like got forced in this very managerial situation, and it made people very unhealthy mentally, and it was just turned into a really bad situation. So it's just really cool to see this second hope for these developers who were working so passionately on a game to have another safe and fun and healthy environment to create again. And that's why I'm so excited for this Vintage Story mode. So, if Hytale gets shut down, yes, that's going to be really sad. But I'm here for this second step, this new second adventure for the Hytale devs, and I think it could be something truly incredible. And yes, I still have an eye on Everwind, but honestly, after reading this post and just the communication I've had, I was able to talk with one of the developers of Vintage Story, and they're just such great people. And the fact that the Hytale devs are moving over to this, it just feels like the natural, like, well, if you guys are going here, so am I. Like, I've been so on board with Hytale that I just want to follow where they go. If this is the game that we're working on, let's jump in. I'm all in with this. So, yeah. But obviously, if Hytale does get saved, I mean, it would be crazy. Yeah, but we're going to go into Hytale if that happens, for sure. Like, Hytale is always going to be the first priority of this channel. So if it happens, you can expect me to go full on into Hytale. But if not, honestly, I think this is the next best thing. And I know I said that about Everwind, and listen, I have a big problem, and it's called indecision. But I had a weird feeling about Everwind, and it's probably just because it's so disconnected from Hytale. But Vintage Story is not. It's very interweaved into Hytale. I mean, the guy that made it was a Hytale dev, and now they're bringing in Hytale devs to make something more similar to Hytale. So honestly, I feel like this is Hytale's second form or second chance. And honestly, I'm here for it and excited to see what comes from this new adventure mode. So expect updates on that as well. Whew. Wow, that was a lot. Anyway, before we wrap up this video, I wanted to shout out New KKL for letting me know about this post. I really appreciate when you guys do this, because I was actually out camping this weekend. I was out in the wilderness, and if you're wondering how that went, I fell in the lake off of a kayak because it filled with water because the drain plug wasn't in there. And yeah, it was pretty sad. It was kind of a bad time. Other than that, though, it was pretty good. Got to hang out with the fam, have some good community. It was good vibes other than that one incident. But yeah, it was a really good time. And yes, shout out to New KKL. I really do appreciate you letting me know about this update. All right, that'll be it for today's video. God bless you, and I will see you on the next one.